Today, I'm taking you to a small, forgotten town in the United States, where a sinister story has remained hidden for decades. Grab a blanket, turn the lights low, and join me as we explore the haunting of Blackwood House, a place that holds secrets darker than the night itself. The story asterisk. Nestled deep within the dense woods of Vermont, the small town of Maplewood seemed like any other quiet, unassuming place. However, at the very edge of town, hidden behind a thick curtain of trees, stood Blackwood House, a dilapidated mansion that everyone knew, yet no one dared to speak about. The house was built in the early 1900s by Jonathan Blackwood, a wealthy industrialist who mysteriously disappeared shortly after its completion. The townspeople whispered that he had made his fortune through some dark dealings, but no one knew for sure. All they knew was that after Jonathan vanished, the house fell into disrepair, left untouched for nearly a century. One cold October night, a group of 4 local teenagers, Emma, Jason, Sarah, and Luke, decided to test their courage by spending the night in the infamous Blackwood House. It was a dare, an adrenaline-fueled challenge to prove they were not afraid of the old tales that had haunted their childhoods. Armed with flashlights, a video camera, and a few sleeping bags, they made their way to the edge of town. As they approached the house, the air grew heavy, and a sense of foreboding settled over them. The mansion loomed like a dark shadow, its broken windows staring blankly into the night. The front door creaked open as if inviting them inside, and the teens, trying to hide their fear, stepped over the threshold. Inside, the house was just as they had imagined. Dust-covered furniture, peeling wallpaper, and an eerie silence that seemed to swallow every sound. The floorboards creaked under their feet as they explored the dark corridors, their flashlights flickering with each step. After a while, they decided to settle in the grand living room, where a large, ornate mirror hung over the fireplace. They set up their camera and began to tell ghost stories, laughing nervously as they tried to shake off the unsettling feeling that they were not alone. But then, something strange happened. As Emma was telling her story, the mirror began to fog up, as if someone were breathing heavily on the other side. The room grew colder, and a chill ran down their spines. Suddenly, words appeared on the mirror, written in the condensation. "Get out." The laughter stopped, and the group stared in disbelief. They hadn't moved from their spots. No one had touched the mirror. Then, as if on cue, the front door slammed shut with a deafening bang, and the sound of footsteps echoed from the hallway above them. Panic set in. Luke grabbed the camera, and they all rushed toward the door, but no matter how hard they pulled, it wouldn't budge. The footsteps grew louder, descending the stairs slowly, methodically. The air grew colder still, and the light from their flashlights dimmed as if something was draining the energy from the room. Suddenly, the mirror shattered, sending shards of glass flying across the room. A low, guttural growl filled the air, and the teens could feel a presence. Something malevolent, something angry. Emma screamed, and Jason shouted for everyone to run. But the house seemed to come alive, trapping them inside its dark, twisting corridors. They stumbled through the hallways, trying every door, every window, but nothing would open. The footsteps followed them, relentless, echoing through the walls. Finally, they reached the basement door, and with no other option, they flung it open and ran down the steps, hoping to find another way out. In the basement, they found an old, rusted door partially hidden behind a stack of rotting wooden crates. Jason pushed the crates aside, revealing a narrow passage that led into the darkness. With no other choice, they entered, the passage closing behind them with a heavy thud. The passage twisted and turned, leading them deeper underground. The air grew damp, and the walls seemed to pulse with a life of their own. After what felt like hours, they reached a small, dimly lit room. In the center of the room was a single chair, and on it sat an old, tattered diary. Sarah picked up the diary and began to read aloud. It was Jonathan Blackwood's journal, filled with frantic scribblings about strange voices, moving shadows, and a powerful, unseen force that had driven him to madness. The last entry was dated the night he disappeared, and it ended with a chilling sentence. It won't let me leave. As she finished reading, the ground began to shake, and the walls closed in around them. A deafening roar filled the air, and the teens felt themselves being pulled backward, as if the very house was dragging them into its dark embrace. Suddenly, everything went black. When they woke up, they were lying in the clearing outside the mansion. The sun was rising, casting a soft, warm light over the forest. They looked at each other in disbelief. Had it all been a dream? But when they checked the camera, the footage was still there, capturing every terrifying moment. They never spoke of that night again. Blackwood House remains abandoned to this day, a dark, looming shadow at the edge of Maplewood. And the locals still say, if you listen closely on a cold October night, you can hear the faint sound of footsteps echoing through the woods, reminding everyone of the horrors that lurk within the walls of Blackwood House. So, if you ever find yourself in a small, forgotten town, and you hear tales of a haunted mansion, think twice before you decide to prove your bravery. Some places are forgotten for a reason. Asterisco asterisco outro asterisco asterisco. Thank you for joining me on this chilling journey into the unknown. If you enjoyed the story, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more tales of terror. Remember, there's always more to fear than what meets the eye. Until next time, stay safe and stay spooky.